You think you're being polite. You think you're keeping the peace. But sometimes what your body language says behind your back is totally different. What you're actually doing is weaponizing discomfort against yourself. Psychologists say you're activating the same brain circuits as a threat. I'll show you why in 20 seconds.
You were thinking why it matters. These invisible behaviors don't just make people avoid you. They rewire how others perceive your intelligence, trustworthiness, and social value. Because the way you handle discomfort doesn't just shape your relationships, it shapes your entire decision-making architecture. I'll show you the 15 patterns of this psychology. 1. Over-explaining. You answer a simple question with a paragraph. Someone asks what you do, and you give them your entire resume, your motivations, your future plans. Picture this. A coworker asks if you finished the report. You don't say yes. You explain the process, the obstacles, why it took longer than expected, what you learned. Their brain registers this as insecurity. Studies show over-explanation triggers the same distrust response as lying, because liars over-explain to convince you. The fix? Answer the actual question, then stop talking. But here's what most people miss about why they do this in the first place. 2. Forced reciprocity. You do uninvited favors, then expect something back, not because you're generous, because you're trading for social debt. Someone mentions they're tired, you bring them coffee the next day, unasked. Then you're confused when they seem uncomfortable instead of grateful. This activates psychological reactance. Their brain feels trapped by an obligation they never agreed to. Research calls this strategic generosity, and people can smell it. The fix? Only help when asked or give without any expectation. And this need to create obligation comes from the same place as the next one. Intensity mismatching. Your emotional volume is always turned up too high for the situation. You bring crisis-level energy to minor inconveniences. A friend mentions they had a bad day at work. You respond like someone died. "Oh my God, that's horrible. I'm so sorry. Do you want to talk about it? I'm here for you. Seriously, call me anytime." The limbic system detects threat in emotional mismatch. When your intensity doesn't match the context, their brain labels you as unpredictable, potentially dangerous. The fix? Match the energy you're given, then add just 10% more warmth. But the deeper pattern beneath all of this? Keep watching. Conversational trapping. You ask questions you already know the answer to, not for curiosity, for control. You see someone's social media post about their vacation. Then you ask in person, "So, did you do anything fun this weekend?" You're not asking, you're testing if they'll mention it. This creates what psychologists call a double bind. They sense the trap even if they can't name it. Their stress hormones spike because honesty feels like failing your test. The fix? If you already know, just reference it directly. And this need to test people reveals something even more uncomfortable. Trauma dumping. You mistake vulnerability for intimacy. You share your deepest pain with people who barely know your last name. Second coffee chat with a new acquaintance. You're already talking about your childhood wounds, your therapy breakthroughs, your darkest moments. The brain's oxytocin system requires gradual trust building. When you skip steps, you trigger their threat response. They feel responsible for emotional labor they didn't consent to. Neuroscience shows this actually decreases bonding instead of increasing it. The fix? Share in proportion to how much they've shared. But why do you skip these steps? Because of what I'm about to show you. Compliment bombing. You praise people excessively for ordinary things, not because you're kind, because you need them to like you. Someone shares a normal photo. You comment, "Oh my God, you're literally glowing. This is stunning. You're perfect. I can't even handle this." The anterior cingulate cortex detects insincerity through pattern recognition. Excessive praise for mundane things reads as manipulation. Studies show this makes people trust you less, not more. The fix? Compliment specifically and rarely, only when you genuinely mean it. And this desperate need for approval is creating the next problem too. Boundary ignoring. You treat every no as a negotiation. Someone sets a limit, and you immediately explain why it shouldn't apply. A friend says they can't hang out this weekend. You respond, "Are you sure? It'll only be a couple hours. What if we do something low-key, just coffee?" The prefrontal cortex registers boundary violations as dominance behavior. You're communicating that your wants matter more than their needs. Research on autonomy shows this destroys relationships faster than almost anything else. The fix? Accept the first no completely, no questions asked. But the reason you can't accept no connects to something deeper.
Social debt collection.
You keep a mental ledger of everything you've done for people. Then you cash in at the worst possible moments. You helped someone move 6 months ago. Now they're overwhelmed with a work crisis. You ask them to help you with something, then add, "Remember when I helped you move?" The brain's fairness centers light up with resentment, not gratitude. Psychologists call this weaponized reciprocity. It rewires the original good deed into a manipulation. The fix? If you're keeping score, you're not actually being generous. And this scorekeeping mentality creates another invisible problem: anxiety announcing. You broadcast your nervousness constantly. Every interaction includes disclaimers about how awkward you are. Before you even say hello, "Sorry, I'm so awkward at these things. I'm terrible at small talk. This is so weird for me." Mirror neurons make anxiety contagious. When you announce your discomfort, their nervous system matches it. Studies show this associate you with the uncomfortable feeling, not the situation. The fix? Feel awkward privately, act normal publicly. But anxiety announcing isn't the real issue. It's what you're trying to prevent. Validation fishing. You make self-deprecating statements and wait for people to disagree. You're not being humble. You're outsourcing your self-esteem. You say, "I'm probably annoying everyone right now." What you mean, "Please tell me I'm not annoying." The brain's cognitive load increases with emotional labor. You're forcing them to manage your self-worth. Research shows this creates resentment masked as reassurance. The fix? Stop making your insecurity someone else's job. And this pattern of outsourcing is linked to the next one: context ignoring. You treat every setting like it has the same rules. Professional, casual, intimate, you're the same person with the same intensity. You're at a work meeting, you share personal struggles like you're at dinner with close friends, or you're at a party talking to someone like you're conducting a job interview. The hippocampus uses context to predict appropriate behavior. When you ignore context, their brain registers you as socially dangerous, unable to read environmental cues. The fix? Observe what others are doing before you decide how to act. But the biggest pattern beneath all of this, it's coming next: invisible interrogation. You ask rapid-fire personal questions without sharing anything yourself. You think it's engagement. It's actually extraction. You just met someone. Within 5 minutes, "So, where are you from? What do you do? Are you in a relationship? What brought you here? What do you do for fun?" You've shared nothing. You've only collected data. The amygdala activates during one-sided information exchange. It's the same brain response as being interrogated. Psychologists call this conversational vampirism. You're draining without feeding. The fix? For every question you ask, share something first. You'll be shocked how much people appreciate it. But this one controls your entire social life. Over-apologizing. You say sorry when you haven't done anything wrong. Someone bumps into you and you apologize. You ask a question in a meeting. "Sorry, can I just..." You exist in a space. "Sorry, do you mind if I..." Here's what that does to your brain. It trains your nervous system to associate your presence with a problem that needs fixing. The fix? Pause for 2 seconds before you say sorry. Ask yourself, did I actually cause harm or am I just existing? Nervous laughter. You laugh when nothing's funny. Your boss criticizes your work, you laugh it off. Someone says something passive-aggressive, you laugh it off. You're uncomfortable, so you fill the silence with a little clucker. Psychologists call this anxiety masking. You're signaling to the other person, "I'm not a threat, please don't escalate," But what you're really doing is teaching people they can say anything to you without consequence. The fix? Let the silence sit, just for 3 seconds. Don't rescue them from the awkwardness they created. And trust me, this next one is even harder to catch. Filling every silence. You can't let a conversation breathe. Someone finishes talking, and before they've even taken a breath, you're already responding. There's a pause, and you panic. So you say something, anything, just to make it go away. Here's the truth. Silence isn't awkward. Your reaction to it is. When you compulsively fill silence, you're communicating, "I'm so uncomfortable with stillness that I'll sacrifice depth for noise." The fix? Count to 3 in your head before responding. Let the other person's words land.
Here's the truth underneath all of this. Every single behavior on this list comes from the same place. You're trying to control how people perceive you. Over-explaining, forced favors, intensity mismatching, boundary pushing. None of it is about connection. It's about managing your anxiety through other people's reactions. And the cruelest irony? The harder you try to make people comfortable with you, the more uncomfortable you make them, because they can feel the hidden agenda. Their nervous system detects the difference between genuine presence and performative connection. Real comfort comes from not needing anything from the interaction. If this made you uncomfortable, good. That means you recognized yourself somewhere in here, and recognition is the only place change starts. Subscribe if you want more psychology that doesn't let you off the hook, because growth isn't comfortable, it's just necessary.